Okay, now I'm very, very, very tired because I was up until cough 30. I was up until like 4:30 in the morning. Took me another little while to fall asleep too. It was dawn when I finally did fall asleep, but then I woke up at my regular time, so I really only slept like a few hours. And then I woke up, had some chips for Brad tries, and that was my breakfast. And now I'm here to talk about True Detective Season 2. I was thinking about that's why I was up until 4:30, by the way. Season 2 of True Detective has ended, so I binge watched it yesterday and last night. And now I'm giving my thoughts on it. I was thinking originally about doing like a one of those episode by episode shit, like, well, I just got done watching episode 3 that aired last night, but I don't like doing that. I did that once. With From Dusk Till Dawn, the series, and I didn't like doing that. Just, I'll sum up my thoughts when the season's over. I mean, I didn't mind doing that with 24 so much, but 24 wasn't episode by episode. It was the beginning of the season, middle of the season, and the end. This, like, fuck it. I'll wait to the end. And I'm honestly glad I binge watched this, because I can't imagine, as convoluted as this season is, I cannot imagine waiting a week between episodes. Not because, oh my god, I cannot wait to see what happens next, but I would forget about what happened prior. Man, I was forgetting stuff, like when I went right from one episode to the next, and that was only the difference of a mere seconds between episodes. I can't imagine waiting a week. I wouldn't know what to talk about. Actually, I don't know what to talk about. And I just watched this last night. If I had set up the camera last night and started talking about what I think Season 2 of True Detective is, I would not know what to say. Right now, I don't know what to say either. Granted, I'm very tired because of True Detective Season 2. I'd probably be this frustrated regardless of how tired I am. And I'm not a morning person, and I'm talking about something I didn't like. So, I'm a little extra grumpy. I got Man from U.N.C.L.E. later on tonight. I hope that's good. Okay, this could probably sum up my frustrations with Season 2 of True Detective. Now, I love Season 1. I've rewatched Season 1 so many times. It's probably some of my favorite 8 hours of television ever. It's disturbing and creepy and weird and quirky and dark and doomy, and I fucking love it. I love that shit. It's like Seven crossed with like Kill List, with like echoes of The Wicker Man, and it's just fucking awesome. Hell, this week I might rewatch Season 1 again this week. Who knows? I can get that shit done in a day. It's 8 hours of fucking awesome. So instantly, when you go into Season 2, and this is like an anthology series where Season 2 and Season 1 have like nothing to do with each other, which, fine. Okay, fine. Season 1 wrapped up perfectly fine with its story. You don't need to see the further adventures of Marty and Rust. So, okay, now Season 2. You're instantly, I'm wondering, I am kind of wondering what I would think of it if you're not instantly comparing it to the first season. Let's say it's its own thing, and it is, but let's say it's not called True Detective. Let's say it's called, Welcome to L.A. I don't know, but not a movie version of that shitty Keith Carradine movie from the 70s. So, alright, I don't know. I don't know what... I would probably come away with it with some of the same feelings. Other people, I don't know, but I mean, you are instantly comparing it to the first season. Maybe this is an instance where if you don't like the first season, you might really, really like this season. It might be. It might be. I don't know. But the first season, okay, if someone comes up to you and asks you, what's season 1 about? Or like, summarize season 1. You can say like, oh, it's about a couple of cops, and over the course of 15 years, they're investigating this murder of a woman, and it might have like cult. It's possible it might have cult ties to it. You can summarize it like that. If someone were to come up to me and ask me what season 2 is about, okay, I know what I would say because I've had to do this within the past some hours. Whether I was talking to my mom or Sarah or Violet. And you sit there and you go, well, this guy was found tortured and murdered, and he was a business partner of Vince Vaughn, who's like a gangster who's working on this land deal for a rail system. And Colin Farrell is a cop who's working for him, but is investigating the murder of this guy. And Rachel McAdams also is, and she's got to keep tabs on Colin Farrell, who's kind of on the take. And then there's also Taylor Kitsch, who's a bike cop who found the body. And he's getting blackmailed by a celebrity who he pulled over. And he's also gay and is trying to hide that by taking Viagra with his fiancée. And Vince Vaughn is lost all his money with... I'm so trying so hard. Vince Vaughn lost all of his money with the guy who was killed. And even by the end of watching it, I'm still not sure why this guy was killed. And so Vince Vaughn then has to rebuild he has to get some money back because he lost $5 million. So he starts working, taking charge of nightclubs and strong-arming people again. And somehow this has to do with like an escort party and orphans from the early 90s, and man, I've seen, believe me, when I went online last night after I got done watching this, believe me, I went on message boards for this thing. I didn't comment, I was just reading. And sure enough, when you have somebody on there who's kind of saying some of the same things that I am, like, this is really convoluted, and really honestly hard to follow, and things are coming back into it that I kind of forgot what they had to do with earlier, because there's a million different things going on, like, oh, these blue diamonds are back. What were those again? This guy was found later on into the season with his eyes plucked out. Who is that again? Who is this girl again? Who is this guy they're talking about, who was maybe referenced once a few episodes ago? When you air these criticisms, sure enough, there's about 20 different people to respond to it, to jump on their ass, to say, oh, you just weren't paying attention. Oh, you just didn't get it. This season is too smart for you. This season is too, like, you know, in-depth for you. You just don't understand. Like, pay attention. Like, go back to watching a sitcom instead if you don't understand the complexities of season 2 of True Detective. Just fucking condescending bullshit. And here's the thing. Alright, I completely understand that if you're really into this season and you're glued to it, and, you know, you will probably know what's going on in it. When characters and subplots are brought up and things are referenced from episodes prior. That's one of a million times this happens, and you're really focused on this, and you really get it. You love these characters, you love this story, you're totally into it. You think it's intense, riveting, entertaining, all of that. Yeah, you will know what's going on in it. You will, because you're invested in it. You're invested in all of these millions of threads going on. Yeah, you will get it. I have no doubt that that person will. But if you don't, if you're not following along with this well, if you really are sitting there confusing and you forget names and you forget other things, that doesn't mean you're dumb. That doesn't mean you need a more simplistic show. Speaking only for myself, it just means you don't care. I didn't care. I didn't care about this guy who was killed. I didn't care about Taylor Kitsch or Rachel McAdams and her, like, hippie upbringing. I didn't care about why this guy was killed. I didn't care about hardly anything that was going on in this. And because I didn't care, I wasn't invested in it. It was going in one ear and out the other. It's like attending a class that you are only there for just to get credits. That's it. I am only watching this just to see through it to the end for reasons. I don't know. Like, I'm in a class in college that I don't care about and I only have to take it because it's required. So it's going in one ear and completely out the other. As it's going on, I'm forgetting it. I don't give a shit. I really don't fucking give a shit about the overall plot of this. And it's too convoluted for me to even begin to say what the fuck even happens in the thousands of different things that go on in this goddamn thing. And part of my problem here might be I don't know if there's just too many characters, because there's so many things going on in here that, of course, there's a couple of things that I kind of like. For instance, I do like this story of Vince Vaughn losing all his money, and he and his wife want to have a kid together, but he has to go back into strong-arming businesses and shaking people down and threatening people and blackmailing and running clubs and stuff like that. I like that it's kind of this gangster story where he loses a lot of his shit and has to kind of start, not maybe all the way down at the bottom, but down more so than he was at the beginning of the season. I like that. I like that plot. I don't mind the plot with Colin Farrell, where here's a guy who, years prior, his wife, now ex-wife, was raped, and so Vince Vaughn then says, like, here, I know who the rapist is, here he is, you can do whatever you want with this. And so Colin Farrell does, he takes care of the guy, and now he's kind of in debt to Vince Vaughn. And they have kind of this odd friendship in the movie. Like, they don't maybe like each other, but they care for each other. You can see that, like, Vince Vaughn, he's a big gangster boss man, but he does genuinely kind of care for the guy. And there is a weird friendship there, and I like that. And I think if this was focused more so on that, like this season is about this murder and also this cop and this gangster who do have to work together to solve this shit, and there's tension there and some twists are revealed, you'd have a real solid product there. But the thing is, I don't know if there's enough story here for 8 episodes, so they jam-pack it in with all of this other shit going on. Whether it's endless scenes of the highway, or of the LA skyline, seriously, like every other shot in this season. So whether you have that spliced in, or just these random, like, honestly, like, you really could have taken Rachel McAdams and Taylor Kitsch out of this and given it a solid rewrite and just focus it on a couple of characters. There's too many fucking characters in this, and I don't really give that much of a shit about Rachel McAdams' plot with her hippie upbringing, with her hippie dad, David Morse, or Taylor Kitsch's plotline, which is kind of like Michael Jace's plotline from The Shield, where he's ashamed of being gay and is trying to have a heterosexual relationship, and then that's used to, like, blackmail him. Like, I saw that on The Shield. Granted, in this case, it has a resolution, and that really was never resolved on The Shield. That plot was one of the many plots on The Shield that was just dropped. And so you have all of these characters, some of them I genuinely like, but every single one of them just goes around mopey as shit. Now, in the first season, you had, like, nihilistic-ass, ultra-cynical Matthew McConaughey. You had, like, ultra-cynical Rust Cole there in the first season. And he's going off on these weird monologues, but in that case, you usually had a character there like Marty to say, like, look, man, can you just stop talking about this? Like, you're really bumming me out, man. Like, you had something like that. Or, like, at least, like, McConaughey had that quirky weirdness to where you were kind of invested in all of his shit that he was spewing out. Like, you're kind of hooked on every single one of his words because he's just so... He's a good character. He's a real three-dimensional, layered, arced character in this. And again, you have other characters to say, like, dude, you're being weird. You mind cutting that out? In this, every character is... They're not really eccentric or weird like McConaughey in that. They're just mopey. They all walk around, every single one of them. They all speak in this monotone tone of voice. They all are suicidal, practically. Either they're suicidal or they're on the verge of it. And every single one of them eventually has this waxing poetic moment about nonsense. Either about some shit that they have maybe read in a fortune cookie, or like Vince Vaughn has a monologue at one point where he's talking about water stains on his ceiling and paper mache and all this. Like, it's just like, oh my god. It's like they found some kid's journal from like 1995 that's got a picture of the Crow written on it. Like, the first season was dark. The first season was dark and brooding and sinister, and there was something just evil going on in every single frame of that. Like, you're watching, like, something terrible is going to happen. Like, when you see a guy show up in season 1 wearing tighty whities, carrying machete and a gas mask, you're like, what is that? What the fuck is that? Nothing good will come out of that image. That's evil. That is an evil image. I'm disturbed about where this is going. Season 1 was certainly very dark and menacing. Season 2 just needs a Xanax and a fucking vacation. Oh my god. Season 2 just needs to see a fucking therapist. But because at the end of the day, this is from the writer of Season 1, and you don't make something like Season 1 unless you're very, very, very talented. And there are scenes in Season 2, there are individual scenes that are good, that are really good, honestly. That helped me make it to the end. I might not have known what was going on or the context of a lot of stuff, but there are individual scenes of greatness to which I'm kind of like, man, this is so close to turning around and being awesome. Like, okay, but the scenes in it that are great are just kind of, they're individually great. They're not they don't feel like they're part of any kind of bigger picture. It just feels like this works because it's a really good scene, and it would probably be a really good scene in anything. I love the scene where drunken lush Colin Farrell is among my favorite kinds of Colin Farrell. So drunken lush Colin Farrell at one point beats the shit out of the dad of the kid who is bullying his son at school. So Colin Farrell finds the bully's house, the dad answers the door, Colin Farrell beats the shit out of him with brass knuckles in front of the kid's crying, Colin Farrell says to the kid, if I find out you're bullying anyone again, I'm gonna come back and butt fuck your dad right in front of you. Okay, great scene. I like that scene. There's a shootout near the end of one of the middle episodes. It's an intense, really bloody, gruesome shootout. It's not near the intensity of that insane ass shootout in season 1. Granted, I was more invested in the plot of season 1, but even beyond that, like that one take, like 15-minute long shootout with the biker gang and the drug dealers in season 1 is like fucking perfection. This shootout here is good. I mean, it's intense. It's one of the best scenes in the show in this particular season. That's a good scene. The fact that the next episode picks up a couple months later and they're kind of reeling from this shootout and the aftermath of it, that's good stuff. That's some good ideas. Although getting used to seeing Colin Farrell with the mustache for half the season, it took some getting used to seeing him without the mustache. This was kind of like Sonny Crockett Colin Farrell a little bit, like from the Vice movie. Like honestly, they could have made this Colin Farrell's Sonny Crockett. It's just years later, and he's much more of a lush right now. He's even got a mustache, long hair, and all of that. And there's a scene where there's kind of a twist later on, spoiler, where Vince Vaughn might have given Colin Farrell the wrong person who raped his wife to kill. And there's a really good scene with the two of them having coffee and they got guns drawn under the table. There's some real intensity there. The acting from Vince Vaughn and from Colin Farrell are really good here. Like, that's why I'm like, these two characters, if they just made these two characters the bigger part of this season and fleshed out their shit a little more, that would be good, because I like these two in it. There's a scene where Vince Vaughn takes this like drug dealer and beats the shit out of him and rips his gold teeth out with pliers. Like, again, good scene. Really, really good scene. In an overall story I don't give a shit about, but really good scene. You know, I like intense-ass Colin Farrell. I like seeing a return to Vince Vaughn doing some darker shit. I like that. There's things in here that could work, but you know what it is? Here's what I can compare it to. Like, the first season, you're sitting there with an erection the entire time because it's all awesome. It's all fantastic and it feels so good. And then there's so many cum shots in it. Like, whether it's that biker gang shootout, whether it's like when Marty finds all those like kids and then pops the guy in the head. You know, whether it's like the ending or the weird ass guy and his sister at the end and he's within like speaking this weird accent. Like, there's so many just fucking cum shots in it and you instantly want to go for round 2. Like, you got a cum shot and you're just instantly fucking hard again. You're ready to go. You're ready to make a fucking day of this. Season 2, you're kind of sitting there flaccid most of the time. It's not really working for you. You're having an off day. You're not feeling it. You're not there in the head. You're just not in the mood. So you're flaccid. You're just limp dick the whole time. But then there are those really good scenes like Vince Vaughn pulling the teeth out, or Colin Farrell beating the kid's dad up, or the shootout. There are really good scenes like that, to where you kind of then have like a half chub going on. Like, alright, I'm feeling some blood pumping there, a little bit. You got kind of a half chub going on, and then that scene ends, and then you're back to limp dick again. You never actually ejaculate, you never finish, you never have the cum shot. So by the end of it, all you're left with is fucking blue balls. You just got fucking blue balls. It's painful, it hurts, it's disappointing. And the cure for blue balls is you gotta climax, you gotta jerk off, you gotta ejaculate. In order to do that, well, you just gotta watch season 1 again. There you go. That's why I might rewatch season 1 again, because I got fucking blue balls from season 2. Am I looking forward to season 3? Absolutely. When you have blue balls, you don't just give up sex. At least I don't. So yeah, I'm looking forward to... I want to ejaculate again. I want to watch season 3. Abso-fucking-lutely. I hope it works. And like with this, I was hoping that I would get to finish. I was hoping I would get to finish at the end of season 2. Like something would happen and then just, you know, wow, the orgasm finally came. But no, I still really don't know what really happened at the end of this. I do know that Colin Farrell made a stupid fucking decision that got himself fucking, spoiler, got himself fucking killed. I do know that Vince Vaughn has this scene where he's walking in the desert and he's stabbed because he was mouthing off and he's talking to ghosts and shit and hallucinations. That's a weird scene. There's a really weird scene early on where it's like an Eyes Wide Shut type party but mixed in with the Helter Skelter murders, where like Rachel McAdams is undercover as an escort and then is given like Molly and is then hallucinating about like a dude from like this, a hippie dude in a VW van taking her away. Like, I'm sorry, like no joke. It goes from like Eyes Wide Shut to like the fucking Helter Skelter murders. It's weird. And yeah, so wow, it didn't really, by the time it ended, I seriously sat there like, I don't know what the point of that was. I don't, because I'm sure there was supposed to be a point. I'm sure this was supposed to make sense to somebody. It didn't to me, because I didn't care. And the things I did care about went out like fucking, were just written off at the end by characters making stupid fucking decisions. It's just disappointing, man. It is. Do I recommend it? Well, I mean, yeah, if you like season 2, or I'm sorry, if you like season 1, yeah, sure. Watch it to be a completist. Will you like it? I don't know. If you're invested into what's going on in it, it will make more sense to you. Like, absolutely. If you didn't like season 1, again, like I said, you might like this. That seems to be the case with this kind of thing. I am not asking for season 2 to be exactly like season 1. I don't think anyone, whether they like season 2 or dislike season 2, wanted it to be exactly like season 1. You don't want to just do the same shit over again. You want to, you know, change things up, try something different, you know, mix it up a little bit, of course. Totally, absolutely. All I have seen people who dislike this season ask for is just something to give a shit about. That's it. Something to give a shit about. Something to invest in. Something for me to care about. Like, man. So that's my thoughts on season 2 of True Detective. Anything else I say right now, it would just be me repeating myself. So I'm gonna go downstairs right now and have some more biscuits and gravy chips. And that's on Patreon right now. The Brad Tries Lay's Do Us a Flavor 2015. I shot that right before I shot this. So, okay. Well, check it out if you want. If you disliked it, I hope this all made sense to you. If you did like it, I'm sure you'll call me a moron. So, alright, see ya.